For those of you who don't do that test, that's the test. You go get the Interstellar soundtrack from somewhere, you put on the song Mountains, you set your volume at the start, and you don't touch it. And most headphones can't handle that song, because the dynamic range goes from itty bitty small to huge. And there's just so much information happening that headphones will just literally, you'll hear the distortion and the twisting, and it's like, oh god, they can't handle it. But these handle it. This is a very special review because this is reviewing a set of headphones that was donated to the channel for the sole purpose of being put in a yard sale and sold so that the funding can go towards Rocky Mountain Audio Fest. And bravo to that brave soul. You see, these are the Audeze MX4s, and they're around $3,000, so golf clap. And according to what everyone says is that these are LCDX mixed with LCD4s. Now, LCDX are some of my favorite Audeze, some of my favorite headphones. Fuck Audeze. Fucking headphones. They're wide and they're soft and they're big and they're detailed and oof. But the LCD4s, on the other hand, I did not quite enjoy as much. They're $4,000 and they sounded extremely detailed and extremely violent, and then that was the end of it. And I could see where these mix the two. The only problem is they don't take the soundstage from the LCDX. They just take the ease of driving. The LCDX, I powered off my Mica Origin. I'm sorry, Origin's amp. My Mica Origin G2, which is like a $110 DAC amp. I was able to power them just fine. And indeed, we're here playing Mountains on low gain. I mean, that was loud. That was 1 o'clock, so. But an efficient pair of crazy giant Tesla 1.5 Audeze planars. So here we go. So they come in the, I would like to say, the standard way that most expensive planars come, in a like a crazy hyper lockable waterproof case. I actually like this one more than most. It's just plainer. Get it? Get it? Someone got that joke. It's a plainer case. It doesn't have like the ridges and the stupid things. It just feels like this might actually be a case for an item. Custom cut foam. Here's the piece to put in the thing. You'll get all of this when you join the Patreon for $5 or more a month. And then you get to throw a bid. Let me explain how this is going to work. So this is going to be sold in the yard sale. Regardless of what I think about it, regardless of what anyone thinks about it, it'll sell with free shipping domestically and half shipping internationally is what I usually charge. And it's a blind and silent auction. So on the 1st of the month, the 1st of August, a post will be made on the Patreon. Anyone who's got $5 tier or higher can see that post. There's instructions on how you bid. You can bid anything you want. For the 10 days it's up, you could up your bid. You're never going to know if you're being outbid. That's a thing. It's just blind and silent. If you're willing to pay $1,000 for these, well, actually, you shouldn't bid $1,000 because someone else might bid $1,000, and there's a problem. So you have to bid some sort of weird arbitrary number like $1,000.15. You bid that. If at the end of 10 days at midnight on East Coast strokes, boom. If you're the high bid, you get notified, you get invoiced, you get headphones. If you're in Indonesia, you get notified, you get invoiced, you pay, the shipping gets calculated, and you get an invoice for half of the shipping. Half. I'm willing to pay for half. And I insure every product I sell. So, boom, there's $3,000. So now that you know the formalities of it, so either way, you're going to have to pay me $5 or $4, and I forget how much Patreon takes out of it. But join that tier and you could bid on these. Back to the sound of them. That test for Mountains was like the final test. Because the way they describe these is that, okay, they're LCDX mixed with LCD4, but they're more LCD4 than LCDX. Just the efficiency. I will say this though, I've done quite a few Audezes in the past, and this is probably the most sorted as far as fit, feel, and comfort. Number one, they've upgraded to actual memory foam pads. Look! That only took them the whole of time. And whether they did that because they're made in USA and they wanted to get made in USA memory foam, which would be insanely nice, but I doubt it. But they finally, could you imagine vegan pads with memory foam? Probably wouldn't work as well. They are single-sided magnet, I believe. They're very thin. Like if I put my hand through here, they're maybe that thick total. So it's essentially just a frame that holds two drivers. And because they're narrower, and because they've got the clamp sorted with the carbon fiber top, I actually bought, you can see them over there. I bought the steel one and the carbon fiber one. Can you see them over there? I bought them, but they don't have the stems here, so I have to buy the stems separately, I guess, and then I could build different headbands. Because I do love the way this feels with the comfort strap with the holes, the leather comfort strap with holes, and it's carbon fiber, and it's light, and it's got great linearity to the actual clamp force. And you need linear clamp force because even if these are, and I think they're lighter, I didn't actually look up the numbers, but I think they're lighter than the LCD4s, they still heavy, thick boys. And when you have them on your head, and you sort of like push them so they kind of stay. The memory foam is a new thing for them, so they don't have quite the easiest. Some headphones, when you put them on, they just boom, and they're perfect. These sort of go on, and you have to push them into place where you like them. Like I want the top in a little more, and the front in a little more, and just, and then they stay there. And you can feel their weight, but you also feel how close they are to your head. So turning doesn't like fling them off your head because their center of gravity is much closer to your cranial region. So that's good. Plus the clamp is probably a little bit higher than most people would want. But back to what these are designed for. Let me get another song going. That's Code Geass, Commanding Eyes. These are monitoring cans. They're designed to run off a phone. They're designed to run off a laptop. They're designed for ease of driving, and they're designed for professional use. These are not the most pleasurable cans I've ever listened. LCDXs, I could put on and listen to the entire Doors discography front to back, be done with it. These hit that much more. They're not quite reaching towards audiophilia, where it's like only the best of the best for the highest grade. What these are for is for people who run a studio. These are for engineers. These are to check your mixes. That's their goal. Because you put on a song, and this is what's happened to me, the first 12 seconds of every song, I will either stay on that song or change it. Because I can tell if the song was mixed properly or not. And it's blatant. So that's what these are. These are work cans. If you are mixing and mastering and you're like, what headphones should I get? Can you afford $3,000 Audeze cans? Speaking of cans, that's another reason why I think they clamp tighter than what I think is normal. It's been a while since I've had a set, but I have one of these headbands there, and I don't think it clamps this tightly, because this is for people standing behind a mixing console that are moving and doing things all day, up and down, this, that. It also is why it comes with a 1/4-inch jack and not a fancy balance connector. I mean, I'm sure you can get one. It actually even comes with, I'm going to call this a Grado style, because it fucking looks just like a Grado style Audeze adapter to take it to 3.5mm for your laptop and so on. By the way, here's the card, individually signed by the person who inspected the headphone. Marital fuck. Marty fuck. It's fuck. F. I don't care what you say. That's what it says. Comes with a little 128 meg USB key, which is obviously what I need. But that's what these are for. These are for plugging into a mixing console that isn't very good at driving hard to drive headphones and getting the full performance. You can get the full performance out of anything I've got going on here. Except for the tube. You don't want to tube planars that are hard. You don't want to tube planars because their impedance is really low usually, and easy to drive is even worse because it'll just mess things up. So you want to keep these on a solid state, and there's nothing more linear than the 789. Fight me, bro. Can we talk about the wire for a second? Because I'm Zeus, and I talk about wires usually first. But I want to talk about a wire that finally feels and looks and touches and sounds is bullshit, but feels like it should come with a $3,000 headphone. Because I've had a couple real stinkers. The Sennheiser 820 is standard Sennheiser cable. Shit, it's garbage. This, however, big metal Audeze right there. Not overly huge. What one did I just do that had like... It had a connector like that long before the strain lift. Like, what is going on? This is perfectly fine. Into a 4-wire braid of like very nylon, very shiny plastic wire. But look at it. Look. Could you look at how straight it is? How well it just drapes. It doesn't do anything stupid or wrong. This feels like a wire I would buy extra. I feel like I have to go to a man and tell the man to make me this wire. But they've done it already. Into this split little Audeze logo. It's just a piece of aluminum, and it gets small on both ends. So unlike periapt cables that get caught on the table, it doesn't get caught on the table. I love those guys. They're sponsoring the room at RMAF. So thank you guys. They'll have some wires there and some giveaway items, by the way. And I modified a pair for my 909s. It doesn't have the point on the top. But that's beautiful. Into the 2, 1 for each. They're the right length. It goes to mini XLRs. Labeled simply with, this has black heat shrink there and this has red heat shrink here. You plug it in, you go. Length is, what is our length? 6 foot? There's a 4-foot table. 6.5 feet. It's ideal. This is finally an expensive headphone that I don't have to go, well, now you've got this, you might as well spend another $100 and buy a cable. No, you don't need to. Unless you want to run it balanced, which, again, you don't need to, because usually balanced delivers a little more power, and these are so efficient it doesn't fucking matter. So, back to the 10 seconds of music. I've never, with a headphone, gone through my playlist as fast as I've gone through with this one. I've got my Emotiva remote control set up to a FLIRC. I'll link to the FLIRC in the description if you want to click that. It's a $20 little infrared receiver, so you can take any remote control you want in the earth. The little software, you say, I want this to be next track, and you go, and then it is. And you can program like 1,000 remotes into it at the same time. So, beautiful metal remote, and I could just skip through. All right, here you go. Sherlock Holmes 2, Moral Insanity. I'm hearing things behind the drums, and one of the things about this particular setup with planar is that the magnets are so fucking strong that they can like deliver anything you need. And I try to describe it with like my amplifiers in the living room. Of course they're 1500 watts because I'm Zeus, but it's not that I need 1500 watts. It's that I need 612 watts for a split second. Because if I only had maximum of 400 watts available, you might notice that you don't have that little extra oomph. And in this case, it's not about the power being driven to the unit. They're very efficient. It's about having the magnetic power. The actual magnets in this are strong enough that this is what the high Feynman arias are missing, is these magnets. Because I can just hear that they're so strong that every little bit of noise that they need to make happens. Regardless, I reviewed the servo subs, right? In a servo sub, the actual driver, it knows where the position is. I'm getting all over the place, but you'll enjoy the wallpaper, right? So there you go. So if a driver needs to be here and it's only here, the servo sub can say, hey, push more power to it and move it out. Now, there's no such thing as a servo headphone, certainly not a servo planar. So the other school of thought, if you can't control a little bit of power and get it to move with science, what you do is you put a shit fuck ton of power behind it, or in this case, magnetism, so that like an SVS sub, there's 5,000 watts, which means if you need the speaker to be there, there's no chance it could be here instead of there, because you're just throwing everything at it. And that's what these sound like. These sound like everything's being thrown at it. I'm listening to, again, this track, Moral Insanity from the Sherlock Holmes 2 OST. In the very beginning, there's like a... That's just... I don't even know what it is. It's not an instrument. It's just a... that flutters to the right and then to the center. And then I'm just like, oh, should I be hearing that? Like, I'm not sure if I should be hearing some of the sounds I'm hearing. But they're there. And I've never heard them that pronounced before. This pronounces your music. That's why it's perfect for mastering. Yes, an audiophile can enjoy that. I'm more of a laid-back, HP3, wide, bassy, fuck with the sound a little bit, but let me enjoy it kind of guy. And these are specifically for people who want to know everything that's fucking happening and is it correct? Is it correct? Is it correct? Is it correct? Well, I'll find the fuck out. A lot of people say you shouldn't master on headphones either. Because, I don't know, the way the room... I feel like that's an urban myth. You guys can have the argument in the comments, and maybe I'll join in, and maybe I won't. But I feel like if I'm producing music, I'm going to test it on... I'm going to probably make it on headphones, then test it on speakers, and then fix it on headphones. I'm going to go from the speakers being, no matter how good your speakers are, there's always a room and space and air, and if you've got a, you know, the density of the air can actually physically affect it. But headphones is much less to do with that. Headphones are a little bit more direct. The wire ends here. Your hearing is here. So of course a headphone should be where you edit. But I understand if you want to listen to it and then go back. These are a build your music headphone because every little is there. I'm going to put these in the yard sale on August 1st. And if the person who wins is willing, I might bring them to RMAF. Now, I know if they want to show up to RMAF, I'll give them a big old hug and then hand them their headphones. But it might be something to have people actually listen to this and hear this. Because the RMAF room, the Hi-Fi Guides room, which, by the way, HiFiGuides.com, is the reason that I'm spending all my money to promote Hi-Fi Guides is at RMAF. So you can check out the link to that in the comments below. Comments or description. That room, yeah, it's there to show off cheap stuff, like how good cheap stuff can be. But not necessarily what these headphones. The headphone could be expensive. If I'm gonna I could plug this headphone into the $110 Mica Origin. Or into that Loxg Pyramid amp DAC thing, which I have to buy if I want to bring there because they haven't contacted me. But that's the sort of stuff, like I want to show off that source gear can be good. And then cheap headphones will be another section into other things and how good all that stuff. It's just about celebrating. You can do music for cheap, but you can't do this for cheap because I don't know a single other headphone that can take everything and give it to you as efficiently and as violently. So that's my description of the MX4s. It's a very in your face, here's all the detail. I can enjoy it to a point if the music is really well recorded. If the music is not well recorded, again, next. No, this is not good. Phil Collins Studio, that's... It's not a bad mix for the 80s. All right, I'm done. That wallpaper has probably been distracting a bunch of you. It's available for download in the description. Have fun with that. These will be in a yard sale. Finally, something worth signing up for my Patreon for. You also get to see most of these reviews early. This video has to come out publicly before the end of the month. And I'm filming it like the 24th. So it's not going to be on the Patreon as long as I'd like. I like my videos to stay private for at least a week, so that people have a chance, if I like something a lot, they get a chance to buy it before it goes out of stock. As soon as something goes public, God knows. See these reviews early. You can ask me any questions you want in text on the $2 to $5 tier. That's fine. If you join the $10 Patreon tier, you get to do the yard sales, and you get in a private Telegram chat, which currently has 170 members in it. And those people ask me everything, and I mostly give them just anything they want to know, or I ask them questions, because they're a knowledge base that you cannot just find. Those are people who understand how Telegram works. That's automatically like above and beyond what normal human beings are. So if you could figure out how to make Telegram work and want to join the $10 tier, there's that. The RMAF GoFundMe here, I brought it up. Excuse me, she's going to have to be hidden for a second. I know it hurts. So there, $28.99, 95 cents. That's a good bid. You could bid the exact same price. You could bid more. I'll sign it if you want. Anything that gets me to RMAF without going broke. And speaking of that, here is the GoFundMe, currently at $8,855 out of a $25,000 goal. 202 people have raised that in 3 months. So when this review goes live, I will update it. We've got a couple companies that are donating money. Vanatu wants us to put, they don't want to go to RMAF, they have a scheduling conflict. They want us to show off some of the new stuff they've got, the T1 Encores. Linsol with the Tin P1, they're donating because, well, they want to thank me for selling all the Tin P1s on Earth. So that's nice of them. So yeah, it's going to happen. RMAF is happening. And you just might just get a really good price on a set of MX4s if you want to. So that's it. I will see you all tomorrow. There's a sound demo for these in the description. Again, I haven't done it yet, and I'm not sure how well the Planar's coming up because Planar likes to fuck with it. Magnets and microphones, no mix. But click to that there. There'll be a sound demo tomorrow, and then we'll just party on September 6th through the 8th when we're celebrating in the Presidential Suite 9105 at Denver, Colorado's Gaylord Hotel and Convention Center. Right? Right. Again, that wallpaper and all wallpapers available to all patrons. So it's another reason to join if you wanted to get boobies.